Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 25, The Glories of Devotional Service. Texts are 39 and 40, but we will read together 39. Please repeat after me. Imam lokam tataivamum. Imam lokam tataivamum. Atmanam ubayayinam. Atmanam ubayayinam. Atmanam anuyecheha. Atmanam anuyecheha. Yeraya pashavo griha. Yeraya pashavo griha. Imam lokam tataivamum. Atmanam ubayayinam. Atmanam anuyecheha. Yeraya pashavo grihai. Imam lokam tataivamum. Atmanam ubayayinam. Atmanam anuyecheha. Yeraya pashavo grihai. Matajis. Imam lokam tataivamum. Imam lokam tataivamum. Atma. Imam, this lokam, world, Tata, accordingly, eva, certainly, amum, that world, atmanam, the subtle body, ubaya, in both, ainam, traveling, atmanam, the body, anu, in relationship with, ye, those who, cha, also, iha, in this world, ye, that which, rayaha, wealth, pashavaha, cattle, griha, houses. Now I will just myself read the 40. Visrijya sarvanam anyamscha evam vishvato mukam bhajantya nanya bhaktya tamrityor atiparaye. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thus, the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, is unflinching in unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this world with wealth, children, cattle, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death. Purport. Unflinching devotional service, as described in these two verses, means engaging oneself in full Krishna consciousness or devotional service, accepting the Supreme Lord as all in all. Since the Supreme Lord is all-inclusive, if anyone worships Him with unflinching faith, he has automatically achieved all other opulences and performed all other duties. The Lord promises here that He takes His devotee to the other side of birth and death. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended that one who aspires to beyond birth and death should have no material possessions. This means that one should not try to be happy in this world or to be promoted to the heavenly world, nor should he try for material wealth, children, houses, or cattle. How liberation is imperceptibly achieved by a pure devotee and what the symptoms are have been explained. For the conditioned soul, there are two statuses of living. One status is in this present life, and the other is our preparation for the next life. If I am in the mode of goodness, I may be preparing for promotion to the higher planets. If I am in the mode of passion, then I shall remain here in a society where activity is very prominent. And if I am in a mode of ignorance, I may be degraded to animal life or a lower grade of human life. But for a devotee, there is no concern for this life or the next life. In any life, he does not desire elevation in material prosperity or a high grade or a low grade life. He prays to the Lord, "My dear Lord, it does not matter where I am born, but let me be born even as an infant in the house of a devotee." A pure devotee does not pray to the Lord for liberation from the material bondage. Actually, a pure devotee never thinks that he is fit for liberation. Considering his past life and his mischievous activities, he thinks that he is fit to be sent to the lower region of hell. If in this life I am trying to become a devotee, this does not mean that in many past lives I was 100% pious. This is not possible. A devotee, therefore, is always conscious of his real position. Only by his full surrender to the Lord, by the Lord's grace, are his sufferings made shorter. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, surrender unto me and I will give you protection from all kinds of sinful reaction. That is his mercy. But this does not mean that one who has surrendered the lotus feet of the Lord has committed no misdeeds in his past life. Devotee always prays, for my misdeeds, may I be born again and again, but my only prayer is that I may not forget your service. The devotee has that much mental strength and he prays to the Lord, may I be born again and again, may I be born in the home of your pure devotee, so that I may again get a chance to develop myself. A pure devotee is not anxious to elevate himself in his next birth. He has already given up that sort of hope. Any life in which one is born as a householder or even as an animal, one must have some children, some resources, or some possessions. But the devotee is not anxious to possess anything, satisfied with whatever is obtainable by God's grace. He is not at all attached to improving his social status or improving the status of education of his children. He is not neglectful, he is dutiful, but he does not spend too much time on the upliftment of temporary household of social life or social. He fully engages in the service of the Lord, and for other affairs, he simply spares as much time as absolutely necessary. Such a pure devotee does not care for what is going to happen in the next life or in this life. He does not care even for family, children, or society. He fully engages in the service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that without the knowledge of the devotee, the Lord arranges for his devotee to be immediately transferred to his transcendental abode just after leaving his body. After leaving his body, he does not go into the womb of another mother. The ordinary common living entity, after death, is transferred to the womb of another mother, according to his karma or activity, to take another type of body. But as far as devotee is concerned, he is at once transferred to the spiritual world in the association of the Lord. That is the Lord's special mercy. How it is possible is explained in the following verses. Because he is all-powerful, the Lord can do anything and everything. He can excuse all sinful reactions. He can immediately transfer a person to Vaikuntha Loka. That is the inconceivable power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is favorably disposed to the pure devotees. Om Gyana Timrandasya Gyana Shlakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Namo Vishnu Padai Krishna Prashtavutale Srimate Bhakti Kash Swamini Tramine Namo Vishnu Padai Krishna Prashtavutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tramine Namaste Saraswate Deva Gaurana Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Dvaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Imam Lokam Tataivamo Matmanam Ubhayinam Atmanam Manu Yecheha Yeraya Pashavo Griha Visrijya Sarvanam Anyamscha Mameva Mishato Mukham Bhajantya Nanya Bhaktya Tanmrityorati Partaye. Thus the devotee who worships me, pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this world with health, children, cattle, home, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and so here here Kapila Dev is explaining the Lord himself. He is giving his instruction to his mother. And in these 2 verses, he is explaining the glories of devotional service. He's explaining the glories of devotional service, and he's promising that who is engaged in unflinching devotional service, that Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, he will take him beyond birth and death. So this is our mission. We know that Prabhupada is explaining in purport that when we live in this material world, that it's a crossroads that we can advance. Prabhupada is explaining, if we are in a mode of goodness, then we will be promoted to the heavenly planets. If we are in a mode of passion, then we will stay here on this planet, where this is Rajaguna is very prominent in this earthly planet. Or if we are in a mode of ignorance, we will degrade ourselves. We will go to the lower planetary the lower animalistic forms of life. But even this mode of goodness, even these planets are not very pure devotees are not interested in that kind of advancement. It is described that demigods, they are called Amara. That means eternals, called eternals. Because if you look at our life, we live like 100 years the most. But there, they live a very long life on the heavenly planets. So that's why they're called eternals, Amara. But it's not like that actually. Because from our perspective, they live very long. But still, they are subjugated, they are influenced by birth and death. Abramana bhuvana loka punaravartino ma Arjuna mamu petya tu kaunteya punarjanma navidyate. Punarjanma. Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that even the higher planets, they will again take a birth. So if we look at the life of a Brahma, which is very, very long, if Brahma looks at our life, we live like a fly. One small fly lives for a few days. It's similar like that when Brahma looks at our planet from his perspective. And on a heavenly planets, enjoyment is very, very much present there. It is described there that these wives of different demigods, that their body is very fragrant. Their body is smelling very nice. So even without perfumes, so when wind is blowing, then this wind is bringing this nice smell of these different demigods in the air. Is only smelling without perfumes. And when they take a bath in these lakes become very, very nice smelling. So we know that enjoyment in heavenly planets is very great. But pure devotees, they are not interested in going to heavenly planets. We know in a history in Mahabharata, it is described there that Arjuna, he went to heavenly planets. He was so pious and so so austere, so to say, that he could reach heavenly planets in his own body. It is described there that 5 Pandavas, when they were living in a forest, because Yudhishthir was gambling and he lost, and for 14 years in a forest. And after first year, Vyasadev appeared, and Vyasadev, he told Yudhishthir this Pratishmriti mantras, and he told him, give these mantras to Arjuna, and with these mantras one person can travel with the speed of a mind. He can go very long distances just in a few seconds. And Vyasadeva gave these mantras to Yudhishthira, and he told him, teach these mantras to Arjuna. Why? Because Arjuna, he will go to heavenly planets, and he will acquire these weapons from different demigods. Why? Because it is described he was the best warrior there was, and Yudhishthira, he very much depended on Arjuna, because Arjuna, he was the only one who could defeat Duryodhana and his army, and it was very difficult positions for Pandavas. And they were all alone in a forest, and Duryodhana, he had all this kingdom, and he had all these kings and big army. And these Pandavas, they knew we have to go to war with them. We have to defeat them. And in that way, Yudhishthira, he taught Arjuna these mantras, so that Arjuna, he can go and acquire these weapons from different demigods. And he did, actually. He was traveling with these mantras, Pratishmriti mantras. He was traveling very fast, and he went to Mandara mountain. And there it is described that Shiva, he wanted to battle with Arjuna. And then Shiva appeared in a form of a hunter. And then at the same time, Arjuna and Shiva, they killed one demon who was attacking Arjuna. He was in a form of a boar, or in a form of a wild pig. He was attacking Arjuna. So at the same time, Shiva and Arjuna, they killed this boar. And there was a very interesting conversation between them. They were challenging each other, Shiva and Arjuna, because Arjuna, he didn't know this was a Lord Shiva. He thought this is some kind of... And then Arjuna told him, why did you attack this boar? Because I already killed him, So, so they decided that they will fight. And it is described there that there was a great fight between Lord Shiva and Arjuna. And Arjuna, he could not defeat Lord Shiva, because he is the most topmost demigods, Lord Shiva, it is described. When demigods, when they are troubled by demons, they approach Lord Shiva to give them protection. Described there in 7th canto, then that demigods, they defeated demons, and then demons, they approached Mayadanava. Mayadanava, he was the architect of demons. He could make different mechanical things, different big cities, and he was like a celestial architect, but he was on the side of demons. So demons approached Mayadanava, and they requested his help to defeat demigods. And Mayadanava, he constructed Tripura. This is the 3 cities made of gold, silver, and iron. And in these 3 cities, they were able to defeat demigods. And you can only imagine that these 3 cities were very powerful, and they were flying in the sky, and they had all kind of weapons on these flying cities. And then demigods, they approached Lord Shiva so he can defeat this Tripura. That's why Lord is called Tripurari, because he defeated these demons in these 3 different cities. So he was very powerful. And with this same Lord Shiva, Arjuna was fighting. See, Arjuna could see, I could not defeat him, because he was, and Lord Shiva was just taking his arrows like nothing. And gradually Arjuna recognized that this must be Lord Shiva, because this person is very powerful. I cannot defeat him. And he made one image of Lord Shiva on earth, and he worshipped this form of Lord Shiva with the flowers, and he could see these flowers are falling on this hunter's head. So he knew, oh, this is Lord Shiva. And he immediately fell at his feet and satisfied Lord Shiva. And then he acquired Pashupati, this personal weapon of Lord Shiva. He gave it to Arjuna because he was satisfied with Arjuna. And in that way, celestial chariot came on Mandara mountain to bring Arjuna to heavenly planets. So we can see how Arjuna was advanced. It is described. He was in previous life Rishi Nara. He was associate of Narayan. He was close associate of the Lord. So we can see that he's an eternal associate of the Lord. He's not ordinary person. And in that, he could, in his body, reach heavenly planets. Because Lord Indra, he sent the chariot, and then this chariot brought Arjuna to the heavenly planets. And there, he received different weapons from different demigods. It is described. And in that way, Arjuna, he became very, very powerful warrior. And this was the mission of Yudhishthir, that he sent Arjuna to heavenly planets. And then when Arjuna returned, we know that he was the best warrior in this war which took place at Kurukshetra. We know that Arjuna, he defeated many warriors. And in that way, in this following in the footsteps of these 5 Pandavas, of these eternal associates of the Lord, we should take shelter, take instructions from them. Even though they were in a very, very difficult position, they did not give up hope. Know that Bhima, he approached Yudhishthir that, why are we in this forest? Let us attack immediately Duryodhana. But Yudhishthir, he was very pious, and he told, no, we promised we will stay in the forest, and we will stay here. Yudhishthir, he was very pious and very righteous king. And we know in that way that doing that kind of austerities, that Pandavas became very powerful. And in that way, they could defeat Duryodhana in this upcoming war. And what to speak of us when we just get some kind of a small sickness, when we get a high fever, a little bit coughing, and then immediately we are praying to Nrsimhadev. Oh, Nrsimhadev, please save me. I'm suffering. Please save me. Get this my illness. But Pandavas, they were not praying like that. Oh, that this is actually the mercy of the Lord. There is one story about one king, and he had a very wise minister. And this minister, he was very pious. He could see the hand of Lord in everything. He would always say, this is. But king, he was materialistic. He didn't as this minister. And one day, king went hunting with his minister and with his soldiers. They went hunting just to reduce the number of dangerous animals that are living in a forest. And it is described that there was one cobra that came in front of king's horse, and king got thrown of his horse, and he fell to the ground, and this snake bit him in the finger. So king knew immediately. He acted very fast, and he cut his finger immediately, because he knew, if I did not cut my finger, I will die. So immediately he acted his finger, which was poisoned. And then he told him, this is the mercy of the Lord, actually. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is under Lord's instruction. Everything happens with the Lord's mercy. And this king was mad. How can this be? I lost my finger, and you are saying this is this. He was very mad at this minister. So he told his soldiers, just bring him back to the city and imprison him. So in that way, the king he continued hunting with his party, and he got separated with his soldiers, and he was alone hunting. And in that forest there were some bandits, some dacoits. They this king. They took him captive, and they wanted to sacrifice this king to goddess Kali. They were worshipping Kali, and this chief among these bandits, he told them, "Oh, we have a king today. We will sacrifice king. It will be a nice sacrifice." And his associates to undress king, to walk him, and so we can offer him as a human sacrifice to goddess Kali. And when they were bandits, when they were addressing king, they did not have one finger, and they told this he does not have a finger, and he was looking, and he said, "Now we cannot offer incomplete human being to goddess Kali. He's not complete. We cannot just release him. Just find me somebody else." Life of a king was spared, and he got on a horse. He returned to the city, and he freed his minister. And king told his minister, "But if everything happens for a reason, if everything is under Lord's command, how come that you are here? I mean, you suffered in this dungeon. How come that you are suffering in dungeon? Just." And then minister told him, "But if you did not send me to the dungeon, I would be with you when you were. And then they will capture me also, and they will sacrifice me to the cult." So in that way, king was pleased. Okay, and pleased, and he then saw that yes, it is true. With Krishna's blessings, it is described that not even a blade of grass moves without Krishna's sanctions. But then we can also say at the same time, then what is the question of our independence? We have independence. What is the question then? This is because if everything is under Krishna control, how come that's these contradictory statements? But no, it's described similarly. We are like prisoners here. So prisoners in a prison house, they have some little bit freedom, small freedom they have. So they can choose what they can do in prison life. They can chant Hare Krishna. They can quarrel with other prisoners. They can fight with other prisoners, or they can read Prabhupada's books there. I'm reading this book from Chandramauli Swami, Voices, and he's describing there that this is book about prisoners actually. Yeah. This is the second book. So it is like devotees in prison, because they are prisoners and then they get in contact in prison with Krishna consciousness, and then they start to read Prabhupada's books, and then they are these letters of appreciation we can read. So similar way, that kind of life we have here. Actually, we are so much conditioned in these material bodies. So we have to use them to elevate ourselves, to elevate our consciousness. And in that way, as Kapila Dev is explaining these two verses, that he will take us beyond birth and death. This is our mission. We don't take birth again in this material world. And we can only do this by teaching ourselves in unflinching faith to the Lord. And in that way, slowly and gradually, we will become purified in this life. That's why this process is very valuable. Although it looks very simple and not so, actually this process is very, very advanced. And we should take full benefit of it, and we associate with other devotees. We should follow instructions of our spiritual masters. We should read books and get engaged in devotional service. In that way, we will advance in our spiritual life. Krishna is saying, Krishna is promising this. Now we may think that there are different services in this community, and we may think that we may look, for example, at Bhakta Emilio, who is washing pots, and we think, oh, he's just some Bhakta who is only washing pots. But no, actually, he's very advanced, and I'm big devotee because I'm pujari. I'm doing personal serving. But no, actually, it's not like that. Even a pot washer, he is worshipping the Lord. He is also engaged in personal service to the Lord. Even when we are cleaning the temple, this is also the worship. This is also, we are worshipping the Lord in the. So we should take full advantage of this opportunity. It's amazing what God gave us. And in that way, gradually, we will advance. So I will stop here. If there are some questions or yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your wonderful class, Prabhu. The last note you made about the surface being pujari or pot washer over there, I like it very much because it's so true. No, it made me remember of, we have this question and answers. Huh? So once a disciple